The mainstream media can no longer hide and no longer deny Donald Trump's cognitive decline because it is so apparent that our pudding-brained president is losing his mind more and more every day. Even the Fox propaganda outlet cannot try to cover this up anymore because Donald Trump is showing it on their network, as he did this morning on Fox and Friends when he called in and had a cognitive episode so bad, admitting not just a secret about Putin, but about one of the Fox hosts themselves, that they had to kick him off air. Yes, they had to cut the feed because Trump was losing it so badly. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into Trump admitting it all and Fox kicking him off air, I want to start where he did with a meltdown about D.C.
But Mr. President,
now I'm doing something that I'm having such fun with because I'm helping people. I've made Washington D.C. just an incredible place. In literally 4 days, I have friends that say they're going out to dinner. Did you see what's happening with the restaurants? They're bursting.
Yes,
they were all closing and going bankrupt. I mean, it would be. It would be great.
This is what Donald Trump is obsessed with. He is obsessed with his billionaire friends. That has been the focus of his presidency in every regard. Donald Trump's agenda that he pushed through Congress, that was about a giant tax cut for the rich. Donald Trump building a $200 million ballroom while every other American deals with a crisis of affordability is about celebrating him and his rich buddies. Hell, redoing the Rose Garden and making it look like a shitty concrete parking lot was so his rich buddies don't get dirt on their shoes. Donald Trump is focused on making sure the rich are taken care of and everyone else is suffering. And also, no one's going out to eat in D.C. because Donald Trump has made it a ghost town with his thugs patrolling the streets. That is what happens right now. He's playing fake tough guy all at the same time as he's clearly just bending the knee to Putin, as he admitted right here before his shocking admission about the Fox host.
during the meeting yesterday, when you decided to call Vladimir Putin, what was the reaction among the other people in the room, and what was President Putin's reaction to being brought into a phone call in the middle of your meeting?
Well, I think they expected it. I didn't do it in front of them. I thought that would be disrespectful to President Putin. I wouldn't do that because they have not had the warmest relations. And actually, President Putin wouldn't talk to people from Europe. I mean, that was part of the problem. They had no communication. They had no communication with the White House for years as people died. Years with Biden and his people. No communication. Putin told me years. It was years that he didn't speak to anybody from the White House. And it was a long time that he didn't speak to anybody from Europe. No, it's a fractured relationship. And when I came in, I always had, despite the Russia hoax, which truly was a very dangerous thing for our country, but despite that, I maintained a very good relationship. I mean, you saw that when he got off his plane, I got off my plane. There's a warmth there that you can't, there's a decent feeling. And it's a good thing, not a bad thing. People would say, oh, that's such a terrible thing. It's not a terrible thing. You know what?
When this was reported by the Times yesterday that Donald Trump abruptly left his meeting with world leaders to go take a call from Vladimir Putin, it was also reported on Steve Bannon's podcast that he took that call with the world leaders. So those were two conflicting reports. And I said, there's not a chance in hell that Donald Trump brought anyone else into his secret call with Putin. And now he's admitting that he took the call with Putin by himself. So there's no shock there. But it just goes to show that Donald Trump is clearly serving Vladimir Putin, that his focus is on his feelings, as we saw yesterday get caught on a hot mic, Trump literally saying that Putin is going to stop this war for him, not because of him, not because of any sanctions he's imposed, not because of any threat of retaliation. No, Donald Trump thinks that they have a personal relationship. He's being played. And speaking of personal relationships, Donald Trump aired one out about Sean Hannity and one of the Fox hosts that he was talking to, and they just completely freaked out. Watch her face as Donald Trump exposes it all, and then they got to kick him off air.
Hey, there's a guy named Sean Hannity. He might take a very lovely young lady that he knows very well to dinner in Washington, and they don't have to. They don't have to. And she's sitting right next to you, by the way.
That's right.
But
Mr. President,
I don't want to get him in trouble, so I better explain exactly. We don't want any secrets here. But
That's exactly
he's
right.
got. That's the greatest relationship. I hope I'm not breaking any news. This could be the biggest. Hey, this could be the most important thing I said. But let me tell you, those are two great, Ainsley and Sean, people in government.
Well, President Trump, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. We know that you have lots of other wars around the world that you need to end, and that's more important than anything. So we appreciate you joining us this morning.
No, thank you very much,
you, Mr.
Charlie,
President.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Ainsley, thank you. I hope I didn't get you in trouble with Sean. But no,
We
it's just
appreciate
a great
your
couple.
support.
I'll
Thank
say
you.
it. I like this. It's a great couple. We love them. Have a good
Thank you,
time,
Mr.
everybody.
President.
Congratulations
Thank
for
you.
yesterday.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you all very much.
The
A lot of
45th
fun.
and 47th President of the United States giving us some breaking
Yeah.
news on what took place in the room there.
Are you serious? This is crazy. Donald Trump has done a lot of bad interviews, and a lot of them have been with Fox, but this has to rank near the top. What do you mean he's exposing office relationships on air because he is in such ailing cognitive decline? Like, that is crazy. We talk about all the time how MAGA can only have their mind changed if they deal with some difficult personal experience. If they actually suffer the consequences of their policy choices, they won't believe in climate change until their town is flooded. They won't believe that Donald Trump's economic policies will hurt them until they're kicked off Medicaid. And a Fox host won't realize he's in cognitive decline until he admits her secret relationship with Sean Hannity on air. Just insane. That is insanity. And they're just like, Mr. President, we're going to need to get you off. Please hang up the phone. Please, we need you to hang up the phone. Please stop talking. Wow. It is crazy. Well, almost as crazy as Donald Trump's random attacks on Gavin Newsom right here.
What happens after your presidency? How can we ensure that this conflict, that Putin doesn't inch in closer or more into the Ukraine territory? Is there anything that we can do? Can our congressmen and women pass any laws that would involve Article 5? How would that be handled?
All you can do is make sure you get a good president, not one of these wackos like in California that runs the worst state anybody's seen, or that guy in Illinois who his family threw him out of the business because he was no good. Now he's running Illinois and he wants to run for president. He's got zero chance. Maybe Newsom has a little bit of a chance. I don't know, but it's hard to believe because his record's bad. But all you can do is hope you don't get that as president. We have a great bench, as you know that. We have great talent. And J.D. and Marco and Scott Bessen's been great, and Howard. They're all, I mean, we have such superstars.
Oh, he's getting in his head, isn't he? He's really getting in his head. I don't know if y'all have been following Governor Newsom's press office on Twitter, seeing their posts just really across social media. But boy, oh boy, are they getting in Donald Trump's head. And yesterday we saw Dana Perino on Fox say that it was inappropriate for Newsom to be tweeting that way. Are you aware of the irony of your statement? Are you aware who the President of the United States is? And maybe that Gavin Newsom is mocking him and the idiotic things he says, like the idiotic thing he said about Ukraine right here?
Mr. President, did y'all discuss any land swaps yesterday? Because we've talked a lot about the Donbass region. And what was the feeling in the room? What did the other leaders say about this?
Well, they understand. Look, everybody can play cute and this and that, but, you know, Ukraine's going to get their life back. They're going to stop having people killed all over the place, and they're going to get a lot of land. But this was a war, and Russia is a powerful military nation, you know, whether people like it or not. It's a powerful nation. It's a much bigger nation. It's not a war that should have been started. You don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size. And, you know, military experts look, if it wasn't for the greatest military equipment, we make the greatest military equipment in the world, and we gave them, you know, whatever. They took probably a lot of money, too. But they had tremendous, you know, they had the Patriot missile, which is the best in the world. All the equipment, we make the best equipment in the world by far. Everyone else is like nothing. So we gave them a lot of equipment. Now, with that said, the Ukrainian soldiers were brave as hell because it's fighting a force that's much, much bigger. And in theory, much more powerful. And, it's not like they've stopped. I assume you've all seen the map. A big chunk of territory is taken, and that territory has been taken. Now, they're talking about Donbass, but Donbass right now, as you know, is 79% owned and controlled by Russia. So they understand what that means.
But, Mr. President, what is...
It's always a blame shift. Always a blame shift with Donald Trump. Anyone but him is responsible. Anyone but Donald Trump. It is just insanity that the man who said he would end this war in less than 24 hours hasn't been held accountable by his own party, by the mainstream media, by anyone for failing to do so, as he continues to scream and yell and somehow blame Obama.
Real estate developers, I look at it, I said, why the heck did he do that to them? And so there's great hostility, and maybe rightfully so. But one thing was NATO. They went in. They said, we want you. We want to get Crimea back. This was at the beginning. Now Putin, in all fairness to him, he made a good deal. He got it from Obama. But they said, we want it back, and that was not exactly well received because it was like 12 years before. That's where Russia has its submarine base, and that's been there long before Putin. They've been there for a long time. But long before Putin. And the other thing they said is we want to be a member of NATO. Well, both of those things are impossible because, again, long before Putin, it was a no-no by Russia or the Soviet Union or anything you want to call it. Sort of a similar thing as it gets larger, but very similar. But it was always a no-no. You could not. Russia said we don't want the so-called opponent or the enemy, let's use that term, we don't want them on our border. And they were right. They were okay. And yet they went in and they asked, with the United States, they said, put us into NATO. And everybody knew you just can't do that. They would never have agreed to it. This is before Putin. This is long before Putin. It was just a no-no. It was something that was never going to happen. So they asked for it, and they shouldn't have asked for it because it was, very insulting thing. Now, they could have asked for many other things. But the other thing they wanted to do is getting Crimea back, and, that was given. They had built, they were expanding everything and spending a lot of money, all because Barack Hussein Obama gave it away in one of the dumbest real estate deals I've ever seen.
Is this shtick not getting a little old for anyone? Anyone that's a little tired of this? I am. The fake tough guy act, the I won a Nobel Peace Prize for, what exactly is it? Nothing? A whole boatload of nothing is what we're doing? It's idiotic. We're going to keep calling it out every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.